The largest law enforcement agency in the U.S. is as big as the combined forces of the FBI, the ATF, and the DEA.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You might not know it by 3 letters, but you might recognize its color, green. Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis spent time with the Border Patrol in Texas, where agents are scratching their heads about one new group of immigrants trying to get into the U.S. Randy?
Right, Russ and Sinead. Yeah, this was my first visit to the southern border, and I came away with a new understanding of what these agents are up against each day. It helped that we met a guy from Georgia, one of the key people on the front lines.
Basically, it's just a constant cat and mouse game where they're looking for the next way to beat us.
We're more than 1,000 miles from Shorter University in Rome, Georgia, where Laredo Sector Chief Jason Owens earned a master's in accounting. But there are days when he looks across the Rio Grande, hears the gun battles with drug cartels, and realizes the Peach State is a world away.
These are highly equipped and highly capable adversaries that are causing all kinds of havoc in those border communities on a daily basis, and it's right next door to where we live.
Inside their command center in Laredo, agents chase down phone tips, monitor 48 fixed camera feeds. But coverage only stretches for about 40 miles. The Laredo sector is responsible for 170 miles of the Rio Grande.
Would a wall work here in Laredo for you?
Yes. It absolutely would. Anything and everything. We have 170 miles of border with Mexico in the Laredo sector alone. Right now, I have 0 border wall.
The Rio Grande was high and moving fast the week we spent in Texas. Mexicans came to their side of the river to toss in fishing nets and stare back. The Border Patrol says a smuggler can take only minutes to get someone across in a raft, where they can make it into the woods and quickly meld into the community.
I think people who have not been down here to the border don't understand how easy it is to blend in with the population on the American side of the border once you cross.
Oh yeah. Laredo is a very is a thriving community.
For the Border Patrol, that means constant boats on the water, birds in the air, and a lot of boots on the ground.
You know, it's fresh. Someone just walked through here.
Agents showed us the evidence of a smuggling route. Wet clothes tossed for dry ones, water bottles, and something they call foot sign, how smugglers work to literally cover their tracks.
We've seen blowers. They've carried a blower charged with a battery, blowing all of the sign up.
No one crosses the Rio Grande without the okay of the cartels. According to the Border Patrol, it'll cost a Mexican $5,000 to cross. Central Americans, $10,000. $20,000 if you're from Bangladesh. That's right, Bangladesh. Since October, they've apprehended more than 200 Bangladeshis in the Laredo sector alone.
It's becoming a huge area of concern for us because the question becomes, why are they coming across? What is their intent? Is it just to seek the American dream or the American way of life? The potential for threat is definitely there when you're talking about somebody from a country with known terrorist nexus.
And Owens has no doubt some are still getting through. The Border Patrol operates a network of 34 checkpoints along the major roads leading miles away from the border. That's how they found this tractor trailer full of immigrants near Laredo last month. But they don't have enough time or agents to thoroughly check every vehicle. Here's what happened when we went through.
Morning.
Morning to Razor.
Oh, good. Morning.
Are you citizens?
Yeah, we're all Americans.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
President Trump has authorized an additional 5,500 Border Patrol agents, but they're already having trouble maintaining their current 20,000 force. Some new hires have wound up secretly working for Mexican gangs or the cartels. Others accused of raping immigrants or killing them and covering up their murders. Critics worry the Border Patrol has relaxed its standards in a rush to beef up the force. Not true, says this sector chief.
We do not want to see anybody wearing this badge or this uniform that should not be wearing it.
But he admits a steady stream of Border Patrol agents are resigning to work in safer law enforcement jobs.
Every time they encounter someone, they don't know who they're dealing with, and almost every time they're significantly outnumbered.
Some agents tell us they no longer risk going over the bridge to visit Nuevo Laredo off-duty like they might have years ago. Times have changed. The world's a different place along the Rio Grande.
Now, you heard from Jason Owens from the Border Patrol say that some sort of wall in Laredo would help. Coming up tomorrow night at 10, why others in Texas say a wall just won't work in that state. We visit one Texas town that lost its fight to stop a border barrier because it cut off key sections of the city and the entire Rio Grande, leaving it all on the Mexico side. It's an emotional issue in these border communities. We investigate tomorrow at 10.
It was so interesting to hear you mention that Bangladeshis are crossing the Rio Grande. You never hear about them. All the focus is on Mexicans and Central Americans.
Yeah, and that's why the Border Patrol is so concerned, because they caught one in 2016. They've caught 200 just since October of last year. They say that they say they have credible fear, which basically means you're requesting asylum when they get caught, and then they're usually given a hearing date before an immigration judge, and then the Border Patrol doesn't see them anymore, so they don't know what's happened. But they say there's no evidence yet of any terrorism tied to these people, but it's a new group, and they're not quite sure why they're picking Laredo, Texas to cross.
Yeah, well, the thing that I was wondering, Bangladesh, of course, one of the poorest countries in the world, and you mentioned $20,000. Where are they going to come up with that money?
Yeah, it's money they save and pay up front, or money they pay once they get to this country, again, back to the cartels.
Wow. All right, Randy, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Randy.